Tony Gattari, you've been very successful in marketing, very, very successful, but you also admit there was a big mistake. What was it?
My big mistake was I came out of the corporate world and I assumed that every single business problem could be solved by sales and marketing. So I went to my first business owner client and I convinced him, let's just ramp up the sales and marketing. And we did that, and very successfully. I nearly killed his business. Because I realised, Michael, that he was the business. So effectively, we grew his business and he said, slow down, because you were supposed to help me to solve my problems, not add to them. And I think he was working 60 hours a week, and he worked 90 to 100 hours to supply the goods and services that he had sold from the great sales and marketing campaign. That was my first brutal lesson in understanding the principles of operating a small business.
Okay, so what other lessons have you learned along the way?
Before you even consider introducing sales and marketing strategies, the first principle is that you have to address the cash flow requirements of the business. If you're going to grow the business, you're actually going to have to work out how much money you need to grow the business. And there is a principle of forecasting and projection. So you've actually got to understand your financial scenario, and you've got to put what-if scenarios and understand you need money to grow a business. The next one is, once you've stopped the leaks, cash leaks, you've actually got to upgrade the engine. So you've got to take the small 4-cylinder 1200cc engine and you've got to replace it with a turbocharged high performance capacity machine. And then we call that systemization, because the business is the system. Now if I've done that, if I've actually done those two things, if I've actually gone out there and stopped the leaks and upgraded the engine, then and only then should I accelerate the car by introducing massive and profound sales and marketing strategies.
Right.
What I did, I blew the engine. Right? It was only a 4-cylinder car. Could only go 90 miles an hour. Right? We tried to make it go 160 miles an hour, and the engine blew up because the engine was the owner.
Okay, so you've stopped the leaks, you're systemised. Let's get some tips that you like to give. Number one.
Number one tip that I would say is that you must understand who your customer is. Now, when I say who your customer is, you've got to understand who your A-class customer is. Not the customer that you don't want, but if you could describe your perfect customer, describe them. So your A-class customer, because your business is about generating more A-class customers, not every single customer.
So you've done that, and then you say, have a go.
Yeah. I think one of the keys to my success is I never had it right, but you just give it a go anyway. The enemy is procrastination. People are seeking perfection in an imperfect world. Great entrepreneurs are risk takers, they're calculated. And the greatest principle that I can give anybody is just do something. Okay?
Right. Then you set a sales target.
Yeah. When you're in marketing, you take these massive strategies. You introduce these strategies, but you've got to actually know what you want to achieve. Because what you're actually going to do is you're going to test and measure what you're getting to see if it's working or not. So once you have a go and you introduce these strategies, at the same time, you've got to set a target of what you're trying to hit. So I think that's a very, very important principle.
And a marketing budget.
Yeah. A marketing budget is predominantly aimed at, once you've got a set a sales target, what you've got to do is you've got to allocate your limited marketing dollars to those activities which either reduce the cost of client acquisition or increase the life of the customer. Marketing can be very expensive. It can be very expensive because you are hoodwinked into deception by organizations who tell you that the answer is one strategy. There are many, 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 many strategies. And my greatest passion in life is to use low-cost strategies first. Set a marketing budget, say we're going to work off this budget, set a target, systemize your business, and just have a go.
And then the principle, which you've talked about before, let's just cover it again briefly, multiple touches.
Not every strategy works. We sometimes mistake strategies for goals. We think a strategy doesn't work, so we give up. All right, they're never always meant to work. I will assure you that in every business there's a code. The principle of a business owner is to crack the code. All right, and once you've got the code, you reuse the code. And all that I'm suggesting is that you've got to try different things to develop a fantastic business. Most business owners rely on too little marketing strategies to give them too much. They rely on one form of lead generation. If that lead generation strategy ever doesn't work, they go into a tailspin where their cash flow declines dramatically. They get anxious, they don't sleep well. So what the key is, get yourself into a position where you've got so many different ways of generating leads, so many different ways of improving conversion rate, so many different ways of increasing average dollar frequency of sales. If one strategy doesn't work, it doesn't matter. It's the principle of multiple touches. I don't know where they're going to come from, but they are going to come.